Okay, so it seems like there's been a little bit of an update to the whole Mori Calliope situation. Now, if you guys don't know, we covered this the other day amidst the whole Philly stuff, of course, that kind of drowned it out a little bit. But essentially, there was a little bit of a situation where she had to suddenly go, right? And it says here, taking some time off and don't know when I'll be back. For now, take care of yourselves. Now, again, there was actually an extra post that was written on her like membership only kind of page, which of course caused a little bit of controversy between some people. Some people didn't think that maybe, you know, she should be doing it to just members only, but also some people thought that, you know, maybe it's kind of better that way because it's actually her fans who are willing to invest money in her that will see it rather than just anybody on Twitter, right? But again, there's been a little bit of a debate, but there has been essentially a kind of little bit of an update to this situation as we found out that obviously Mori Calliope was having some issues behind the scenes. She literally said that herself in this kind of message that she put to her members. Obviously, I can't show it on screen because, you know, potentially there's some kind of issues there in terms of, you know, because it is a paid thing. But she did explain that there were some issues going on behind the scenes, which many people have been kind of, you know, speculating, whatever, you know, to do Hololive and all of this kind of stuff, which, again, you know, could 100% be the case, right? And obviously it sucks, and it seems like she has been having a couple of issues, but it seems like now she has a new tweet that has actually come out in regards, in a little bit of an update to the statement that she made the other day, saying, "Hey Deadbeats, update. Like I said, I need time away from streaming and the internet. But just wanted to tell y'all things are looking up and I'm doing alright. Sorry to worry you so much. I'll be back soon enough. Just taking some time off to myself." So yeah, obviously, whenever this first came out, it was a little bit not heated, but I know what to say. It's kind of like worrying. It was sudden. It was very sudden, and people were like, "Oh God, you know what's going on? You know, is she going to? You know, is something bad going to happen?" Right, essentially. But of course, it seems like it's kind of mellowed out now after a couple days, and it seems like maybe they are working on something. Probably, I'm guessing her and Hololive are probably working on some kind of, you know, just conversation to have about, you know, what is going wrong for her and what she doesn't like about behind the scenes, because, you know, that is what she mentioned. But of course, you know, there is a lot of different things that can kind of factor into it, right? And I think it is a good update, though, just to kind of put that out there and say that, you know, things are looking up, because, of course, lots of people could stay worried for, you know, a couple weeks, if not months on end, you know, worrying whether things actually are getting better or not, and whether, you know, a lot of the criticisms that she put out online pretty publicly are actually being addressed, or whether, you know, or whether they're not, and it could go, you know, bad, right? But from this message, it seems like, of course, she's saying things are looking up. So, as I said, probably some kind of conversations going on there, which is good to hear, right? And people saying, "I'm so relieved to hear that. Make sure you take plenty of time for yourself. I'll wait as long as it takes." And yeah, obviously, regardless of, you know, whatever is going on with that, I'm pretty sure maybe she just needed some time off as well. You know, I'm pretty sure she's pretty notoriously known for not taking as much time off as maybe some other people take time off. So, you know, maybe she does actually, you know, deserve it or need it, because a lot of people, you know, do deserve that kind of stuff, right? Saying take all your time you need, Carly. You of all people deserve the most rest after everything you've accomplished. Don't worry about us. We'll be here cheering you on from the sideline. Take care, dude. And obviously, yeah, they're completely right in the sense that, you know, Mori Calliope is you know, she's one of the biggest talents, if not, I don't know if I'd say the big. She's one of the biggest talents. Let's just say that. And she brings in a lot of different kind of cool opportunities, you know, to Hololive, and you know, with a lot of the stuff that she's been doing. And I think Hololive also given her a lot of opportunities too, in the sense that, you know, her music, you know, recently featuring as the Gachia Kuta, you know, opening, you know, and so much more. She's been doing so many collabs and absolutely been killing it. So, you know, it would be a huge loss to Hololive if she was to go, which I'm not saying is going to happen, by the way. It's just like, you know, obviously there has been conversation surrounding that. But again, that's not what's going to happen, as far as it seems like, because obviously she's saying things are looking up. So it seems like they've had a conversation. And of course, there's been a lot of people talking about this over on different subreddits. So we've got Kurosanji here saying, new tweet from Kali. People saying there was a new members post, which was supposed to be the new wallpaper, but things happened related to that. But she went a little bit into more detail about what is happening, but kept it mostly vague. But it's generally the same as her tweet there. So yeah, saying glad Kali is feeling better. You know, I'm even more confused what the problem was now. I assumed it was company problems since she said it wasn't personal or family. That from what little we could tell, it's an accumulation of disparate frustrations from different sources, hence why speculation was all over the place. Which, yeah, you know, people were saying it's to do like specifically with Hololive or whatever. I don't know if that's 100% the case, but she said, you know, she literally said verbatim behind the scenes stuff, and behind the scenes stuff can mean a lot of things, right? Obviously, you know, as I said, the Hololive thing people have been talking about, of course, yes, Hololive can count as behind the scenes, yes. But there's also many other things behind the scenes too, right? He works with a lot of people, you know, music producers, whatever, or kind of maybe a new project that she's working on, right? There's so many different behind the scenes things that could be going on that have nothing to do with Hololive as well, right? That could also be causing a lot of stress and a lot of issues and whatever, to the point where, you know, there was a big problem, right? And people say it probably was and probably still is a company issue. People have to remember covers problems mainly boil down to inefficiency, not maliciousness. They aren't trying to abuse or piss people off. They're just let a lot of things slip through the cracks, which, yeah, I mean, that's fair enough, right? Then hopefully this meant that Callie and Cover managed to find some solutions. Of course, the workaholic Reaper probably also realized that she needed a break regardless, which, yeah, as I said, that is the same. You know, as I said earlier on, you know, I think that despite maybe things getting sorted out now and maybe things that are looking a little bit better, I think, you know, this has also just made her realize, okay, maybe it is time to just take a little bit of a break while I kind of announced it anyways, right? Who said, drama fan said she's about to graduate, which obviously, no, that's not going to happen, right? I think that, of course, there would be, you know, more internal talks about that happening if that was to actually happen, right? It wouldn't come out on like a public Twitter thing of her like saying things weren't so great and things like that, right? You know, it would be done internally, and then obviously the company would announce it, right? So again, I never thought she was going to do any of that kind of stuff, right? Maybe a break. But even then, it was like, you know, I don't think so, right? It just seems like it's a little bit of a hiatus at the moment, right? So many people using those members' posts to push their own narratives when it's a personal thing between her and the company that she's trying to sort out. I completely understand that people get protective of talents, especially given the corporate track records. And if Cover was screwing around with talents, I would stand against them in a heartbeat. But the fact that some people immediately started going, this is VShoujo 2.0 with no detail or clue is crazy to me. VTuber was and is one of the lowest bars you could possibly hit, and people really defaulted to that insanity. And yeah, I do think that's 100% the case, right? I think a lot of people are very quick to go against companies, and I think that's honestly a good thing in the sense of like it's good that they are good. They are like very supportive of their talents, and that, you know, they're always you know, fans are always talent first. So that obviously provides a lot of protection for the talent if something was to go bad. Not saying that it will go bad, and this is kind of applicable to any VTuber agency or company out there, right? You know, it's good that people stick behind the talent, but also I think it's also bad that, you know, for example, things like the VShoujo situation, or, you know, you can think of any other ones, right? The VShoujo situation is probably one of the biggest ones and probably one of the most concerning ones, right? With everything that happened, you know, people are very quick to go, oh, they're just like them, when in actual case, you know, it's a lot different. And I think that some people overreact a lot of the time, and sure, maybe, you know, a company could have messed up somewhere along the lines, right? But it doesn't mean they're instantly VShoujo 2.0, no, right? And sure, maybe there could be a company out there somewhere that is VShoujo 2.0, but for now, you know, that is just not the case. That is not what we're seeing here. And I think it is pretty stupid that some people are trying to make it like that, right? Or trying to make it like it was supposed to be VShoujo 2.0. I just mean, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Then people shouldn't have leaked and discussed the members' posts. There's a reason Callie chose to vent them in a place where it's reserved for our fans. It's high time people started respecting VTubers' boundaries and choices, regardless of how validated they feel in their personal opinions. But I hated how the people who kept spreading it kept saying everyone deserves to know, and kept pushing the narrative that the company has gone too far. Which, again, I think that, you know, it's important to kind of let everybody know, but I don't think it's necessarily drama spreading if, you know, you are literally just letting them know. Now, if it is people that are like posting it and saying like, see, this is why they suck, this is why blah, 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 and getting angry about it, then sure, I can understand why that would be bad. But if it's just someone sharing it, be like, hey, here's what she said, by the way, you know, or even giving like a little summary of what she said, right? I think that's a little bit better because, of course, you know, people want to know. And if anything, it stops a lot of, what do you call it, speculation in the first place, right? Because, you know, Callie was much more detailed within that members post. And obviously, yeah, she did make this Twitter post, which, of course, is pretty vague, right? If you look at it, saying, taking some time off, don't know when I'll be back. For now, take care of yourself, right? Very, very vague. Anybody could speculate anything, right? And there's been, of course, there's been antis and all sorts hopping on this and, you know, trying to do whatever they can to smear the company or smear Mori or smear anybody, right? That they can. And I think that is why sometimes it is an issue for some people. And it's not just because people want to start up drama or anything. People want to know what happens in the members posts because they want to know what the actual reasoning she gives. Because, of course, she gave more of a reason within that members post, saying like behind the scenes stuff was going on. Now, of course, it wasn't specifically detailed, saying like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, but it gave us more of an idea, right? Whereas whenever this first came out, people were like, oh, is something wrong with her family? Is something wrong with her health? You know, of course, which it wasn't, which she clarified in the members post. So that's why people want to know a little bit more. And that's why people did spread the news from the membership posts, because, of course, it stops the speculation. If anything, I think hiding it behind members things, although it sounds good in a sense because it's going to your own fans, I think doing this kind of double post thing, where she posts it on Twitter and posts it on YouTube memberships, I don't think that works. I think you've either got to do one or the other, right? I think, like, if she just posted it to a YouTube membership saying, hey guys, taking some time off, and explained it there, I think that probably would have been fine. But now she's put it on Twitter, you can have the people speculating over the super vague one, and then they're going to be, you know, speculating a ton surrounding that, whatever, you know, they come up with. Whereas the membership one is slightly different, and people are trying to, like, keep it separate. But I'm going to be honest, people deserve to know the whole thing, right? Because, you know, that's just going to stop the speculation altogether, right? So I'm a little bit confused by that. But of course, I think, you know, it's however she decided to go about it. And of course, I know she probably wasn't exactly in the best of moods whenever, you know, kind of putting out these posts and having to, you know, announce that she's taking time off is always hard. But yeah, I think that obviously it probably would have been better to either just leave it to YouTube memberships only or just, you know, let it out publicly, right? Because of course, you know, it stops the speculation. But hey, maybe she wants people to speculate. You never know. But again, that's just the way that I would deal with it in terms of just managing that kind of stuff. Because of course, it happens quite a lot with you know, Callie and other, you know, people. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of a little bit of an explanation of that, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that is essentially all there is in terms of an update from Mori Calliope. Hopefully things do get better. Obviously, as I said, she says that things are looking up and that she's doing all right. So looks like things are looking pretty good. But for now, we'll just have to wait and see and just keep an eye on what is going on. Of course, I'll keep you guys up to date if there's anything else that does happen. But yeah, that's all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, good game subs. Use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.